Welcome to Ben on Breaking News. I'm Ben Meiselas, and this is your breaking news. We start at the top of the show on breaking news that no one else seems to be covering. The fact that a United States soldier and a UK soldier were both killed in northern Iraq. This follows an Iranian strike on northern Iraq after the United States violated the ceasefire by targeting areas in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran previously targeted an American Kuwaiti base, injuring 5 United States soldiers, service members, and contractors. That is being covered up by the United States government. They claim that these service members were injured as a result of, quote, falling debris that just so happened at the same airport where Iran targeted after the U.S. targeted Iran first. Then, of course, we go to northern Iraq, where we're now being told it was a training mission that injured a United States soldier and a UK soldier. The American people are not buying it the same way we're not buying when Secretary of State Marco Rubio gives testimony today before the United States Senate and says the United States is not in a war at all. We moved past epic fury. We are in the post-war stage of peace and prosperity, everybody. Don't you feel it? I'll show you more in a little bit about what Marco Rubio said during his disastrous Senate appearance today, where he said it was part of the strategy of the Trump regime that when negotiations were taking place in Pakistan between the United States and Iran, that our chief negotiator, the person who's supposed to be representing the United States, Rubio, was at a UFC fight and he was taking a bunch of selfies with Donald Trump. That was all part of the plan, Rubio said. Perfectly normal Secretary of State behavior, not to be representing the United States during very critical negotiations, but instead to be at UFC fights while Donald Trump was admiring how strong and handsome the men were who were fighting in the UFC arena. Talk about that. We'll talk about the fact that the Americans aren't buying the fact that Donald Trump has been in hiding for 6 days, and we're supposed to believe that that's somehow normal. Look, Donald Trump got some purported physical exam at Walter Reed. That's the last time we saw the guy publicly, right? That was last Tuesday. And then since then, the guy's been basically MIA. There was a photo of him, I think I saw in The Beast, which is the presidential limousine where he looked like awful. But no one's seen him, no press appearances, no Oval Office appearances. And we're supposed to just be like, okay, perfectly normal behavior here. And this is actually a critical moment where we'd want to hear from a normal commander-in-chief about what the hell is going on. The economy right now is suffering for most Americans, not Donald Trump's billionaire AI oligarchs. They're doing all right. The American people are suffering and struggling and can't pay their bills, and inflation is surging, and they are not just being left behind by this regime. They're being thrown under the bus, as with future generations, and no Donald Trump to be found. Apparently, Iran stopped negotiating with the United States after Israel continued to invade deeper into Lebanon. You know, the definition of a ceasefire, which included Lebanon, is usually you stop, you cease the fire. Not for Netanyahu. He continues to invade, and Netanyahu says, look, we're doing it because of Hezbollah. But, okay, you're doing it because of Hezbollah. Well, you're leveling cities like in southern Beirut and towns. You've leveled Tyre. You're targeting medics and hospitals and women and children. And don't gaslight me that that's not going down. I know it's going down. We see it. Stop with the gaslighting. There's a genocide in Gaza taking place, and they are annihilating right now and doing the same thing in Lebanon. And so Donald Trump then leaked to Barack Ravid from Axios, who's been basically Trump's chief stenographer, who since early March told us we're on the precipice of a deal. His sources inside the Trump regime told him we're so close to a deal. It's right around the corner. Just a few more days and a few more days and a few more days. And just let's wait until Easter. And then let's wait until the summer, because we all know in the summer, COVID dies because of the, oh, wait a minute, I'm talking about, oh, wait, he's doing the same thing again with this catastrophic war in Iran and more cover up. If we don't count then it's like the disease doesn't exist. So let's not count the casualties. Let's not talk about the soldier who died in Iraq, or let's not talk about the 5 soldiers who were recently injured in the Kuwaiti air base. Let's just say it was falling debris. That's what happened. And then let's blame NATO and blame others the same way you blame Fauci and you blame this person. Let's blame Jerome Powell, the former chairman of the Federal Reserve. Let's just blame everybody when actually we're now going on 2 years, and thankfully we're about to hit these damn midterms, right? We're in this together, but woof, we hit 2 years. We're getting closer to 2 years. I know it was 6 months away or so, but we're almost there. We're almost at the halfway mark, halftime, which hopefully second half is about accountability for these crooks and criminals. But anyway, I digressed. I guess I was talking about, okay, Donald Trump to Barack Ravid, who's posting the headlines. We're good, we're good, we're good. And then Barack Ravid posts, okay, let me tell you what my sources say. Donald Trump called up Net. It's like all fan fiction. It's like, right, it's like some Star Wars fan fiction. Donald Trump called up Netanyahu and he started to yell at Netanyahu. And he said to Netanyahu, what the F are you doing, man? Everybody hates you. Why would you do this? You need to make sure that your troops don't go into Lebanon. You're screwing up my deal, man. And then Netanyahu's like, yes, sir, I understand. Donald Trump didn't tell his daddy Netanyahu that. We know that's not what went down. I don't think that was a great conversation, but Donald Trump was not cursing out at Netanyahu, okay? That was a narrative intended for an American audience and an Iranian audience to make it seem like Donald Trump was doing something. But the thing is, he's so weak that everybody knows that it's just yet another lie. But that's the narrative they gave. Then Israel's News 12 today said, nope, that never happened. It was a tough conversation. Netanyahu posted, though, I'm going to continue to go into Lebanon, to which the IRGC commander said, great, you do that, then we will do a full-fledged war and we will light the Middle East on fire again, where American bases are, that is. And then you have the chief negotiator from Pakistan, Munir, and Sharif. They're just talking up how great China is as the new global hegemon, as the security architecture throughout the world is shifting in favor of China right now. The mid-powers unite, Canada, European Union countries, Australia, Asian countries forming alliances with each other. Basically, Donald Trump is out there ranting and raving like a lunatic on social media. It's like, okay, Donald, you can post your memes of you like looking over Greenland like you're going to invade it, or more posts about the 51st state, or how you want to lock up Obama and talk about your fountains and your ballrooms and your arches. Okay, Donald, but you know what? The big boys and big girls, we're going to behave like adults and we're going to like do adult things. And so we're going to keep NATO going and just pretend that you really don't exist. By the way, something to pay attention to. There's a NATO meeting coming up in Ankara, and none of the countries want Donald Trump to be there. And Donald Trump realizes that they're just kind of ghosting him and ignoring him right now. And so Trump wants to show up now in Turkey and Ankara just because he wants the attention. But like, it's a foreign minister level meeting that he shouldn't be at, right? It's just at a top diplomat level. So he wants to go to Ankara so he can be like, look, everybody, I'm annoying. Look, let me make this about myself. And all of the NATO nations are like, please, dude, just stay the hell away. We really don't want you here. You just ruin everything right now. But, you had the escalation of strikes in Kyiv. Remember, Donald Trump promised day one, we're going to stop the Russian war in Ukraine. I know Putin. I know Zelensky. This will be so damn easy to bring them together and to do a deal. Don't you understand that the same lies there? It's just another species of the same lies with Iran, which if you use the Ukraine and Russia example, there ain't going to be no deal with Iran for years and years and years. And then what does Trump do? The Trump and dump. Hands off a bunch of shit to whoever, and a bunch of fire, and then goes, you broke it. I had the vision. I had the plan. I was so damn close, but the Democrats screwed me. These people, oh, everybody, I'm such a victim. It was so unfair. I was going to make world peace everywhere, but I wasn't able to do the world peace because the Democrats, I'm a baby. I'm done. I mean, what a freaking baby. It's a whole regime of loser babies, right? One after another. Even the people who you think, can you behave like an adult like Rubio, baby? And all they want to do is use the big toys that the United States has, our military, to go and just invade countries. Now it's Cuba because that's the new shiny object because Iran wouldn't submit. The new shiny object is let's starve to death the people of Cuba, and they're all going to revolt and they're going to rise up right now. They're a failed state. They're such a failed state in Cuba that we need to do a blockade and embargo around them. If they were such a failed, let me be very clear. Do I support the Cuban regime? No. Am I very critical of the Cuban regime? Yes. Do I think that there's a lot of disinformation that still is promulgated about Cuba in generally? I think there is a lot of disinformation that comes from Western propaganda about it. Do I think the Cuban people should be the consequences of this embargo? Absolutely not. And I think we should be culturally more sensitive to Cuba, its interests, its desires. I think we should recognize the infrastructure that exists in the Cuban regime the same way we needed to recognize the infrastructure in the Iranian regime, which we've gotten rid of all our experts so we don't do our homework on anything. Donald Trump believes everything is just as transactional as Venezuela, and you can find your own Delcy Rodriguez, but that's not what exists in Cuba. It's certainly not what exists in Iran. And so, Donald Trump goes and he'll threaten Cuba. He blows up more boats in the Caribbean, off the coast of Venezuela, in that general area, blows up more fishing boats, just kills people in the Pacific. I think we've slaughtered more than 300 people. And then they release the ISIS-style death videos where they blow up boats, and then CENTCOM posts its war crimes. All those people should be charged at The Hague. Everybody in the chain of command. I don't get, but Ben, you're American. You're calling. Yes, they all deserve to be tried in The Hague. They're war criminals for doing that. And one day they should all be held accountable. The head of Southcom, the head of CENTCOM, the head of whatever. Anyone who's been involved in the slaughter of these people, the same way anybody who was involved in the slaughter of Manab, anybody who's aided and abetted the genocide in Gaza, anybody who's aided and abetted the destruction of Beirut, they're war criminals and they deserve to be treated as such. Full stop. End of story. It's not a debate. I don't need to debate you on it. It's a fact. It's an objective. If you want to live in your own reality, live in your own war criminal reality. That ain't the reality on the MeidasTouch Network. You can feel free to disagree with me, but when it comes to certain things like respecting human life and human dignity, and not engaging in genocide and not killing and slaughtering innocent people and not slaughtering little girls and not covering up the Epstein files, there are some just basics for me, and especially as I see abroad and here in the United States, so many people just being exploited by this despicable regime. I think yet again a preventable outbreak of Ebola in Africa. No one wants to talk about that in front of the world, as ahead of the World Cup, as a lot of people, though nowhere near what was expected to be, because no one wants to be near the Trump regime or headed to the United States. We've got Ebola, we've got hantavirus outbreak, we got a lot of viruses and disease. We got measles outbreaks in the United States. Any one of those things, if this took place in an Obama administration or Biden administration, would be like, the end of the term. But, corporate news, they like their Trump narratives. They like their Trump drama. They like their Mar-a-Lago gossip. They like to call up Donald Trump and then be his stenographer and go, Donald Trump told me that he's getting bored. Oh, he's getting bored of the negotiations. Okay, so he's going to report that Donald Trump's getting bored of the negotiation. I mean, you want to be a human being also and call that out, that that's a deranged thing. If you're getting bored of a critical negotiation during a catastrophic war, you shouldn't be the commander in chief. It's not a matter of boring. This isn't to entertain you with shiny objects like reflecting pools that look disgusting, or the octagon, or whatever the hell they're building in front of the White House for UFC, while Donald Trump invests in TKO, the UFC parent company, or Donald Trump's golden arches or golden ballrooms, which he's now saying, it's not a ballroom, it's a drone port. The ballroom is going to have all of these drones swarming around it. It's a drone port. So we want the White House to now become a military target and turn it into a drone port where there will be drones all over DC. What the hell are these idiots even talking about? It's just everything that this regime spews is nonsense. It's dangerous. It's dumb. And I'm not sure if you saw, as noted in the beginning of this, Kyiv is under even more attack by Russia. Oreshniks, ballistics, drones. Russia's throwing everything it has at Kyiv right now. I think Russia's getting a little more desperate in this war. Even some of the Russian kind of military bloggers, those Mila bloggers, are out there saying that things are not looking good in terms of what is, on the Russian side. Ukraine's counteroffensive has been very successful. But, Zelensky through all of this is like, dude, I've got these drone interceptor technology. I've got these drones. We have the infrastructure and technology where we could be really helpful for how you develop militaries of the future, because militaries of the future need to recognize the present realities of war that we've seen increasingly in Iran, that we've seen increasingly in Russia's invasion of Ukraine, that we see in Lebanon. I mean, one of the things that I think Netanyahu and Israel weren't ready for is that Hezbollah is using these fiber optic drones that aren't detected in radar because they're literally held on these fiber optic strings, as opposed to, and they get their power source from the fiber optic strings. And so it doesn't get shown like the way a radar would normally detect, the way anything that carries its own fuel or engines are able to be detected with certain types of heat. So it avoids the radar detection. And so really the only way that you have now to avoid it is, we did a video on this. Have you seen the movie? We made a movie at the MeidasTouch Network, The Drone Hunters of Kherson. Did you see that? The movie we made here on Midas Studios? We were on the front lines of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and we showed the Ukrainian soldiers the way you shoot down these drones. You have to literally shoot them at this point. That's one of the ways. Then there's a netting. That's another way. And then there's early detection of the sources that these drone swarms originate from. And so that was you should watch the drone. Watch on our Midas feed after this, if you haven't seen it, the Drone Hunters of Kherson. It's incredible. But anyway, the point I'm making here is Zelensky's telling Trump, you want our drone technology. We need some help with the Patriots, because our drone technology still can't strike the Oreshniks and the ballistic missiles. There are other tools, drone interceptors for drones, but when it comes to ballistics, we need Patriot and THAADs, and you have those, US. So why don't we give you all this drone technology and help us with some more Patriots? What does Donald Trump do? Just ignores it, negative, not happening, not doing anything about it. And Zelensky had to even make a post. Zelensky's like, maybe, do you want to say yes to us giving you this critical drone technology? But no, the Trump regime seems to be, in my opinion, share your opinion in the comments below, more focused on Don Jr.'s drone company or the companies that he invests in, and that the Trump family's drone stuff. And they'll be like, some small company from North Carolina just got a $650 million loan from the Defense Department, and Don Jr.'s on the board. Oh, and he's an investor. Oh, what do you know? Eric's a part of this company, and they're getting and then Don and Eric like, we're just passive investors. We're just passive. Don't make any accusations against us. So you have Zelensky trying to hand Donald Trump a dub, and Donald Trump can't even take the win where he sees it. And so you have this globe. And have you seen the Shangri-La in Singapore? The videos I've been showing you there. Again, this doesn't get any attention. Wild to me. It's what we cover on the MeidasTouch Network. I remember I showed you the videos this past week of the Australian defense minister. I showed you what the prime minister of Greenland said in the speech. There were some, I showed you, not at Shangri-La, but I showed you what Claudia Sheinbaum, president of Mexico, has recently been saying. I delivered the Prime Minister Carney's speech in the Economic Club in New York City, and then he met with Wang Yi, China's foreign minister. When you watch what's happening at Shangri-La, Singapore, that's where Hegseth spoke there as well, and Hegseth gave his deranged, like, the globalists are, why would we subsidize wealthy nations? Look, I hear your point, Hegseth. Why would we subsidize wealthy nations' military? Perhaps they should invest more money in their military. However, let's not forget, Hegseth, where those wealthy nations are parking their wealth. They're parking their wealth in United States treasuries, in United States real estate, in the U.S. markets. They're taking their money and moving it here. And so when you see some of the biggest drawdowns in history of our treasury bonds, meaning countries are selling their bonds and not buying the bonds unless they get a better rate of return on the bonds, which is why at the treasury bond sales, they have to provide better returns on the bonds that then get locked in if the countries want to, which ultimately means your debt increases. It also means the deficit expands, but that's why the Trump regime is throwing trillions and trillions of dollars in debt just on the interest alone, because we're seeing countries less interested in buying our bonds unless they're guaranteed a higher return. That's why you see the yields right on the 10 and the 20 and the 30 years higher, providing more return to these other, to induce them to buy. And that means that we have to pay more interest on those. And so that's a consequence of when you are abruptly and in bad faith attacking our allies in ways that aren't cooperative, in ways that are threatening. They're not going to buy American. They're not going to invest in America. And Trump and you can go around and say $21 trillion this, $21 trillion that. We didn't invest. No one's investing $21 trillion. It's the biggest, stupidest lie imaginable. If we had $21 trillion invested into our country, we would actually see a massive, massive job growth and massive factories going on. Everybody, with $21 trillion is a lot of money. I mean, it would basically end any type of deficit. We'd have a balanced budget. Things would be incredible if we really brought in 21 trillion. But the same way Donald Trump claims there's most favored nation provisions regarding drug prices, and that's why everybody's drug prices are so much cheaper now. Healthcare costs are going down so rapidly, right? I'm being sarcastic, of course. It's just one lie after another. And when you lie, eventually your bill comes due. With any Ponzi scheme or Bernie Madoff or whoever, at some point, people say, hey, show me the money, bro. Show me the money. Where is it? Show it to me, because you promised me this, that, and the other. And I think it's one of the major reasons we're also seeing a massive exodus away from MAGA. We're seeing some of the big MAGA influencers, the big MAGA personalities leave MAGA at a very rapidly accelerating rate. I mean, we're seeing the Democratic candidate in Texas lead Ken Paxton over there. James Tallarico is leading Paxton. And basically, the way the MAGAs are criticizing Tallarico tells you everything you need to know about the current condition, right? Are they criticizing Tallarico's policies, his plans? No. They're saying that he's a gay transgender beta. He's a gay transgender beta who doesn't have a girlfriend and who and produces soy milk or something. Like, that's where and by the way, that's their official talking point. Yeah, he's six genders. He's six genders. I think they don't know the word cisgender, but they go, he's He's six genders. What do you mean he's six genders? What the hell are you guys? He's transgender. He's six genders. He's gay. Okay, what? Okay, first off, even if he's a vegan, he's a vegan. Even if he was any of those things, okay, who cares? We should respect all human beings. We should treat everybody with dignity. Period, full stop. Don't ever expect anybody on the MeidasTouch network to ever make fun of or punch down at a marginalized community. Period, full stop. Never. Never going to happen, ever. I don't care what you tell me how voters, that doesn't matter. We treat all human beings with dignity, with respect, and we defend people's human rights and civil rights here in this network. Period, full stop, okay? But that's how you're attacking him. I mean, he's a straight guy, 9th generation Texan, who has barbecue, who has a girlfriend who we've seen, and they seem to be in a loving relationship. And he's a very smart guy who, by the way, is bringing crowds together of 4,000, 5,000 people in ruby red counties. He was in Ken Paxton's county the other day for a massive, massive event. And I believe, and perhaps hope springs eternal for me, but I believe that the American people are sick and tired of this fear mongering. I think when there's economic uncertainty and you can otherize people with fear mongering, you can deceive more easily and effectively with eating cats and dogs and that type of, the immigrants are coming for you. I wish and hope that never existed. I want to continue to devote my life in this network to bringing people together, not dividing it. But I think we could understand the reality that when people are economically suffering, historically, setting aside the United States, demagogues have been able to otherize, create easy answers to big problems and say, it's this group, it's that group. They're the ones who are doing it. Let's do boogeymen. Let's find people. The Somalians are doing it. The transgender people are doing it. It's these immigrants who are doing it. But, when you're in power, when you're in charge and you've made promises that you're not delivering, and you're now committing a massive Ponzi on the American people, and you go back to the playbook, and on the one hand, you have Ken Paxton, who just let out a pedo from prison. You know the Ken Paxton story? He let out this guy who molested a little boy for many, many years. And Paxton asserted himself in a local prosecution and helped the pedo get out. No, and it was why would you do that? Why did you help this guy? Was he a donor? Why did you help this guy? It's a big issue in the Waco area. You're just letting pedos out on the street, not to mention his own corruption, where his affair, he's a serial cheater, and one of his affairs was caught because he was involved in this thing that led to his impeachment, where some donor of his was kind of giving him this money to hide in return for favors, to hide the mistress. And so he got impeached. There were whistleblowers, Republicans, who worked for him, who called him out on that conduct. By the way, he was criminally charged with securities fraud. It's that's their guy. But when you think about it, Paxton is their guy. Is there anybody more MAGA than Paxton? Is there any? That's like Trump. That's Trump's crew. That's who Trump's hung around with his whole life, right? The Epsteins, the Jean-Luc Brunels, the guy who ran that other modeling agency that was part of that crew where Trump had Ivanka work in that modeling agency. I'm drawing a blank on that guy's name who ran that modeling agency, but that guy died and sexually assaulted little girls also. And Trump had Ivanka work at that. No, Jean-Luc Brunel, I know. It's the guy who runs the modeling agency where Trump would do the events, like the yacht events, and they would do them at the Plaza Hotel, Casablancas. That's it. John Casablancas, married, sexually assaulted 15-year-olds and 16-year-olds. And then Donald Trump's I'm going to have Ivanka model for that guy. So, I know we talk a lot about Epstein, right? But Trump's friends were Casablanca, Jean-Luc Brunel, are people like this, and people like Ken Paxton. That's their crew. When we talk about the Epstein class, we're referring to an actual group of people who are corrupt to the core, who are criminal to the core, and who engage in this sick behavior with little girls and little boys and cover it up. either engage in it or cover it up, or are friends with the people. One or the other. It's like, what are you doing? What are we doing here, folks? And I think people are sick of it. I think, going back to where this episode started, it's like, okay, be real with us. It seems like a U.S. soldier was killed in Iraq because Iran retaliated after the United States struck Iran. Is that what happened? It seems like what happened in Kuwait, 5 soldiers injured. 5 soldiers injured, not from debris, but because a drone hit the base. Come on. Let's be real. No one's talking about this, and when I turn on any news, no one's talking about any of this stuff. This is big. This should be a big deal. But you've got Barack Ravid and Axios and all these people saying, we're so close. Right around the corner is a deal. Right around the corner is a deal. Right around the corner is a deal. And Trump looks at the markets where there are a lot of rich people heavily invested in. They pump the hell out of that thing. The wealth gap between most Americans, 99%, and the rich has never been more vast. And I just think we're all sick of it. And I think it's becoming increasingly bipartisan as well on a lot of these things. Like, did you see only 9% of Americans support Donald Trump continuing to put his name on things? That included 17% of Republicans, 9% overall. That's a telling stat. Donald Trump's underwater with non-college educated white people, which is his core base, and non-college educated white men he's underwater with. I think that's a telling statistic right there. And we head into the midterms. I actually feel, though, and you could tell me what you think, I do feel that there is a lot of momentum right now for democracy. I feel that there's a lot of momentum for this movement. I really do. And I think that you who have been here, we've held the line from day one. We've never wavered. I think we're starting to see, as you saw last week, more people canceling associations with Trump. No one wants to be at the Freedom 250 event, right? The UFC event is becoming weird and grotesque. FIFA's becoming weird. It was before, but it's like, really? Like, you're like, are you like defrauding us with the prices now? And now cities are losing money, with this Trump and Gianni Infantino scam, and there are investigations into the so-called dynamic pricing that seems to artificially set prices that aren't dynamic in terms of what the actual demand is in order to kind of jack up the prices. Do I want to see FIFA fail? No. Do I want to see America's 250th birthday fail? No. Even with how much I despise Donald Trump, I want to see FIFA be great. I'm not a big UFC fan, but I know people who are. Why is it being all political and weird? Just let the people fight. And also, in terms of America's 250, it should be America's 250, not Trump's 250. Stop putting your face on money. Stop putting your name on memorials, living, breathing memorials like the Kennedy Center. And I know a judge said take it off. Stop doing that. Stop doing your ballrooms and your reflecting pools. This should be an easy W for you, an easy win. Just allow people to perform. Stay out of it. It's not about you. It's not about you. It's about America. And that's the thing that we see constantly over and over again. And, it's sad that the 250th is going to be a Trump rally. Okay, so there's no 250th. So just think, it could have been what America 250 was supposed to be, not Trump's group, Freedom 250. It was supposed to be a celebration, real acts, celebrating 50 states, the history of this country. Not this weird thing. But as I said, I feel momentum. I really do. I feel that people are speaking up. And then we have all this momentum heading into the midterms for democracy, for truth, for accountability. And the next 2 years, we could be in a position where there's investigations impeachment, just getting out the truth. That's it. Simple proposition. All right, let's take our first and only ad break of the show. A reminder, hit subscribe, help us get to 7 million subscribers. Also, subscribe to our audio as well. And if you can join, become a member of our YouTube page. And if you can afford to become a member of our YouTube page, gift memberships to others. That goes a long way to help. All right, let's take our first quick break of the show. We'll be right back.
ED is way more common than most guys think. Millions of guys deal with it at some point, and that's exactly why HIMS offers a straightforward way to handle it. HIMS connects you with licensed healthcare providers online, giving you simple access to legitimate ED treatment options from home. No awkward appointments, no pharmacy lines. Just complete a simple online intake, and a provider will review your information to determine if treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your treatment ships directly to your door in discreet packaging. That includes sildenafil, also known as generic Viagra, available through HIMS at up to 95% less than the brand name version. And if that option isn't right for you, there are additional treatment options available, so you can find what works best for your body. It's straightforward, transparent, and designed to make getting care feel easy. To get simple online access to personalized, affordable care for ED, hair loss, weight loss, and more, visit hims.com/Meidas. That's hims.com/Meidas for your free online visit. hims.com/Meidas. Prescription required. See website for details and important safety information. Sildenafil is the generic version of Viagra. Viagra is a registered trademark of Viatris Specialty LLC. HIMS is not affiliated with or endorsed by Viatris.
Let me tell you, if there's a surefire way to wake up feeling fresh after drinks with friends, it's with pre-alcohol. Look, I'm not 21 anymore. If I have a night out, I still want to be productive the next morning, and that's why I started using this. ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic Drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking, and here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's a buildup of this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for rough days after drinking. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make pre-alcohol your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly and you'll feel your best tomorrow. I was honestly skeptical at first, but I tried it before going out to dinner with friends, and the next morning I was getting up early, but I was feeling good, getting work done, no problem. Now it's just part of the routine anytime I know that drinks are involved. From the crack of the bat at the stadium to the start of wedding season and the roar of the engines in Indy, May is packed with back-to-back reasons to be out. Don't let a rough morning after keep you on the sidelines. Drink pre-alcohol to stay ahead of it and make the most of every Saturday this month. Go to zbiotics.com/Meidas to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use code Meidas at checkout. ZBiotics is backed with 100% money back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they will refund your money, no questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/Meidas and use code Meidas at checkout for 15% off. That's MEIDAS. One thing I like about Cash App is that most people still think it's just a way to send money, but it's actually become a lot more useful than that. I was talking about this recently because so many of us are looking for ways to get a little more value out of the purchases that we're already making. If you weren't up to speed already, Cash App is way more than just a safe way to send and receive money. With the Cash App card, you unlock a ton of perks without all the hidden fees. Enjoy benefits like exclusive early access to nationwide concert pre-sales, Kendrick Lamar and Sabrina Carpenter to name a couple recent examples, plus discounts on everyday purchases and popular brands you're probably already spending money on. Add your card to your digital wallet to make your money moves easier. Cash App also adds security to your money by declining suspicious card transactions and sending you a notification to make sure the payment is really you. If your card is ever lost or stolen, you can lock it with just one tap right in the app. Spend with confidence with the Cash App card today. New Cash App customers can earn $10 if they use code CashApp10 in their profile at sign up and send $5 to a friend within 14 days. Terms apply. apply. Cash App is a financial services platform, not a bank. Banking services provided by Cash App's bank partners. Prepaid debit cards issued by Sudden Bank, member FDIC. Cash App Visa Debit Flex cards issued by Sudden Bank, member FDIC. The Bancorp Bank, N.A., pursuant to a license from Visa USA Inc. See terms and conditions for the Sudden Prepaid Card, Sudden Debit Flex Card, and Bancorp Debit Flex Card. Cash App Green features, savings, direct deposit, roundups, overdraft coverage, and discounts provided by Cash App, a Block Inc. brand. Visit cash.app/legal/podcast for full disclosures.
Welcome back to Ben on Breaking News. Some of the breaking news earlier today. Donald Trump was nominating Bill Pulte to be the acting director of national intelligence. Donald Trump said, "I am appointing the director of the Federal Housing Finance Agency and the chairman of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, William J. Pulte, to serve as acting director of the national intelligence." Now, Bill Pulte's name probably sounds familiar to you because he's the guy who has completely weaponized, although the word weaponized has been weaponized to kind of dilute it. He's turned it into a criminal enterprise, let's just say that, to a RICO enterprise, a racketeering enterprise, to go after people who Donald Trump doesn't like by accusing everybody of mortgage fraud. Oh, you did this on your mortgage application. You did that. He's that guy, right? We never really heard before of who the director of the Federal Housing Finance Agency was. Bill Pulte's a trust fund kid. His dad is wealthy. He kind of inherited his wealth and his daddy's businesses. He's like a meme stock guy who would like hold these weird like meetings that he would like stream about like GameStop meme stocks and Bed Bath and Beyond meme stocks, kind of these like pump the stock meetings. That's what he would like do in 2023. He would hold these dildo meetings. And you're like, what do you mean he held a dildo meeting? He would hold like a dildo meeting where they would like slap each other with dildos. This is what this guy does apparently. I don't know. It's Rizar, and he got a trophy in some meeting that they live streamed at an event where they would like slap each other with dildos. Anyway, so he's our new director of national intelligence. He has no experience as being in the intelligence community. By statute, the person who runs the DNI has to have intelligence experience. That's the position that Tulsi Gabbard held and that she was forced out of. And, now you have this guy, Pulte. What basically will happen is he'll probably be just serving as an acting DNI for the statutory period, whatever that is, several months. And then he'll be withdrawn. But in the meantime, he'll get access to the most sensitive information of our intelligence infrastructure, and I'm sure he'll use it the way he's been using the information that he got at the Federal Housing Finance Agency. Just think, if he used the Federal Finance Agency info mortgage applications to do that, imagine what happens if he gets the most sensitive information from our intelligence community. We're also learning that the CIA has stopped sharing a lot of its information with the DNI, which I guess is a good piece of information. There's like a CIA revolt taking place. So that's a good data point, I suppose. But I probably can't leave you with a cliffhanger that he would throw events where they would throw dildos at each other. I may as well just play that clip so you don't think I have zero credibility. Although this will perhaps make you doubt the very existence of everything. But anyway, play this clip, Jeremy.
Here's the first ever, man, live fucking dildo slap on the PP Live. Pulte, look at this fucking thing. All right. Come on. Harder, daddy. All right, fine. There you fucking have it. The first dildo slap in history live. So, Bill, this says Bill Pulte fucks. All right?
Thank you.
And then if you notice it's got a tramp stamp with a butterfly
I
on
like
the back.
only the young.
One ass cheek set. Yes, it does say only the young on the back here. Only the young, December 14th.
That looks pretty badass.
We have a mushroom stamp on the head of it and Bed Bath on one cheek and GME. Oh, fuck. GME on the other.
I got too excited there.
The new head of the Director of National Intelligence, the new Director of National Intelligence right there. Okay. Who's doing the press conference today in the White House? Oh, Dr. Oz. A reporter asks Oz, if the president is in such perfect health, why does he keep going in for checkups? And why does he keep taking cognitive exams like every month? Why? Why, Dr. Oz? Why are you here? Why is Dr. Oz in the White? Why is any? All right, don't you just like, why are you here? What are you doing? Why did that guy get hit in the face with a dildo? And why is he the Director of National Intelligence? And why is RFK freaking grabbing snakes? And what are these people do? Like, who are these weirdos? Weirdos doesn't do it justice. These are real. This is really bizarre. This is strange shit. Anyway, here's Dr. Oz. Here, play this clip.
Yes, go ahead.
Hey, I just wanted to follow up on her question behind me. If the president's in such perfect health, why does he keep going back in for checkups?
I think he likes the results. He does really well. He aces the test every single day, and I do actually believe that he is curious to make sure everything is going in the right direction. He's a very meticulous person in so many ways that are often underappreciated. But for him to want to know all the numbers and keep on top of them, it's the same reason he calls people at odd hours, because something's on his mind and he wants to deal with it. Yes, in purple.
Okay. Okay, Dr. Oz. I'll show you this other thing from Dr. Oz right here. The reporter goes, so this is his fourth checkup. He's had several CT scans. What are they looking for? What are they looking for with these constant CT scans, huh? Because we all know you don't just show up to a doctor and get MRIs and CT scans. And when you get an MRI, you know which part of the body it is. But okay, Dr. Oz, what you got for us, Dr. Oz? What you got for us, Oz? Here, let's play it.
Across the world, especially when we're not sure what's going on with them, is probably not the wisest move. In red, take it away.
Thank you so much. Alina Shirazi from the Daily Mail. This is the fourth checkup that the president has had. He's supposed to have one a year. He's had several CT heart scans. What are the doctors looking for? And second question, I think you might like this one better. Who has been your favorite cabinet secretary so far to do the briefings at the podium?
That may not be my favorite question. I mean, they're all obviously different. I think Scott Bessent's dry humor is fabulous. Marco is just an earnestly funny person. We can tell all kinds of stories about Marco's entertaining commentary. I think JD was spectacular. He's just very on his game, understands the issues, and he understands the American people, which is I appreciated his presentation so much. And I did watch them all, by the way, just to prepare. I'm a doctor. I try to do my homework. I prepped for the case. The first issue was about Ebola. No,
about President Trump's
examinations.
checks. He's had 4 already. The president's supposed to have 1 a year.
Yeah, so I actually have talked to the president about what he's sent to all of you, and I think it's just a routine, regular exam. You remember I had the president on my show 10 years ago. He also presented records, and at the time I was stunned at how well he was doing, because so many of these numbers naturally over time will start going in the wrong direction. But if you look at these records, they're spectacular. His cholesterol, his blood pressure, all the numbers are starting in excellent parameters. His ability, and listen, I work with him frequently. Many of you get to see him almost every day. That amount of energy and that amount of mental acuity does not exist in a vacuum. You have to have a vessel to carry it. And the president has a unique ability to just keep going at all hours of the day with remarkable strength. Let's go.
We see him sleeping through most of the day. He's disappeared for 6 days. If you actually even look at the report, in addition to all of the red flags, it's actually not going in the right direction. I mean, he's gained weight, but they still lie about his weight. He was 224, now he's 238, so he gained 14 pounds, but he's really more like 300 pounds, let's face it, is the reality. He's not 234. What else? A lot of those metrics that he has are not trending well. The fact that there's multiple CT scans, that's not normal. The fact that he keeps taking the MoCA, the Montreal Cognitive Assessment, is not normal. Maybe you take it once as a cursory pre-screener to dementia, but That's not an IQ test. We all know that by now. It's weird that he keeps on saying he aced it. It's not something that you ace. You either have dementia or you don't have it, or you have concerns about dementia. You don't take that exam 4 times. That's strange. That's weird. It's not normal behavior. Okay, let's see what Marco Rubio had to say today. So you said Marco Rubio does a great job. Okay. Well, Marco Rubio was testifying in the United States Senate and the House, but he was asked by Senator Rosen, like, buddy, why were you like at a party when the United States was negotiating with Iran in Pakistan? Why were you at a party? He was at a UFC fight. Watch this. Let's play it.
I don't know if one is scheduled for this year yet.
Thank you. With the remainder of my time, I'd like to remind the American people that as the Secretary of State, your main duty as America's chief diplomat is to maintain our relations with foreign nations. This is why I was shocked to see that you were at a party with President Trump in Miami instead of accompanying Vice President Vance to Pakistan for negotiations.
What party was I at? I was at a party?
It's publicly reported, and there's photos there.
But what party? No. But you're going to say that. I'm going to answer it. I'm going to answer
But
that
let me
question
finish
because that's an
my
absurd statement.
And
I was not
as
at a
I
party.
finish my paragraph, he,
All right.
he can answer.
Because people are going to
Fact.
slander me. I'm going to answer
Steve
it.
Witkoff.
You think that's slander? You were at a UFC match. Okay. So it wasn't a party. It was a UFC match. Got it. Watch how Rubio describes his attendance at UFC 327 as part of the plan. It's all part of the plan, everybody. Here, play this clip.
People are going to slander me. I'm going to answer
Steve
it.
Witkoff and Jared Kushner, both of whom were never confirmed by this body to be America's diplomats, accompanied the vice president in the negotiations. Even Iran's foreign minister was not there, yet you were not, was there, excuse me, and you were not. I just feel that's embarrassing for us, and it's embarrassing for you. So, Mr. Secretary, Congress represents the American people. We have the power to confirm who represents America abroad. We confirmed you to be our Secretary of State. We confirmed you to be in the negotiations that are happening. And it's just unthinkable to me that you are missing high stakes negotiations or that you're not involved. It's sad.
Senator Rosen, your
Excluded.
time's up.
Yield back.
But
So let me
Senator Secretary Rubio,
You're
should have the
100%
opportunity to
inaccurate and
reply.
100% wrong. Here's why. Number one, the vice president of the United States was there, and he wasn't confirmed by the Senate. He was elected by the American people. Okay, he is the second in line of the presidency of the United States. He was president. Mr. Witkoff is the president's envoy for negotiation for peace deals. Mr. Kushner is a private citizen that serves as an advisor on these functions. They were the team that we sent to Pakistan. I was not at a party. Where I was is next to the president. Because in the midst of those negotiations, I was in communications with them. And in fact, I think there is media reporting from that evening on how on multiple occasions I went into a back room, I came back out and spoke to the president and was constantly updating him. On that evening, I spoke to Mr. Kushner and our negotiating team and Mr. Witkoff on at least 6 occasions, including twice on a secure line from the phone they had access to over there. So you don't know what you're talking about. You're just
Senator
making
Rosen,
stuff up.
he has the floor.
I know your staff wrote up this cute statement for your TikTok video, but it's not true and it's not real. That's not what happened. Okay, I'm the National Security Advisor and Secretary of State. I was co-located with the president in the midst of a high-stakes negotiation so that I could immediately inform him about events occurring halfway around the world. I was where I needed to be at that moment because we had a very capable team on the ground in Pakistan, led by the vice president of the United States.
I was where I needed to be at a UFC fight is where you needed, the word need, you needed to be at a UFC fight while there was perhaps the most important negotiation in the last decade, 20 years, taking place in Pakistan. You needed to be there at the UFC fight. Notice he says, I'm the Secretary of State and the National Security Advisor. Sometimes we forget that Donald Trump just doesn't appoint people to positions. So Rubio holds both titles, Secretary of State and National Security Advisor. Yeah, in both of those roles, you should be in Pakistan, okay? It's not the vice president's role to be the lead negotiator. The Secretary of State is quite literally the top diplomat and chief negotiator of foreign affairs. That was what your job was. You didn't need to be at a UFC match. And now there is this never-ending war that you all pretend is a ceasefire and pretend the war is over. And then did you see what he just said about Witkoff? Witkoff is the special envoy. Kushner is a private citizen who's important. Okay. These people aren't the Secretary of State. We don't want Witkoff, some loser real estate guy. We don't want, who is Witkoff? Frankly, we don't want any of these people. Why Witkoff? Just some New York real estate slummy guy who Donald Trump knew from their shady real estate days together. I don't want this guy negotiating on behalf. He's not a Senate confirmed. Who the hell is this guy? I don't want this loser there. You know, I don't want Jared Kushner there, the president's son-in-law, who has billions of dollars worth of deals in the region. And what do you know? One of their plans is, let's do real estate deals in Iran. Let's create a real estate fund. Oh, the real estate people who have investments in the region want a real estate fund in the region. Ah, wow. Who could have predicted that that's what they would want? And meanwhile, there is no resolution in this catastrophic war in Iran. The resolution should be just simple. The United States should just get the hell out of there. It's really simple to me, actually. Do it. If you can do a deal like Obama style deal, do the JCPOA. And I'm sure Iran's going to want to have some control over the Strait of Hormuz because they won the war. They won because the objectives that you all set out did not get achieved. You said there would be regime change. You said there would be an obliteration of their nuclear capabilities and their traditional military capabilities like drones and ballistics. None of that was achieved. They won. We lost. Let me repeat that. Iran won the war. Stop with their navy's at the bottom of the sea. Okay, if they don't have a navy, if they don't have an army, then the Strait of Hormuz should be open. Simple. If they've been totally obliterated, then what? No, then we should be being greeted as welcoming heroes, according to you. That's not what's happening. The opposite is happening. We know Iran's leadership. We know who they are. They're not in caves, okay? And so now that you lost, you need to negotiate and concede because you're the losers of the war. Iran won. So what do? Come up with some solution. Iran, you can call it, you and Oman, rather than attack Oman and threaten Oman, maybe try to say, look, Oman will be a neutral advisor, so you have leverage over Oman in terms of controlling the Strait of Hormuz and keeping it open. It opens up, and you then have you create an international coalition in the region in case it closes again. You work multilaterally to say, all right, Iran, you could symbolically say you control the strait with Oman, not you individually, together. But if there's ever a shutdown, we have an international coalition ready to go. Like, you all realize that that's what all these international groups are trying to signal when they said, we will help after the Strait of Hormuz is like, it's obvious what they're even trying to communicate, right? France, UK, these 40 countries, they're saying, we're not going to get involved now, but do a deal. And they're spelling it out for these idiots in the White House. Then we will help you. We will help you after it's open if it gets shut down again, because then you'll have a international team. Donald Trump's like, I'm bored of all of this. I'm bored of all of this. There's no war. The war is over. And then Marco Rubio's there. He goes, the war's over. Here's what Marco Rubio said when he testified. He goes to Cory Booker. It's like, so you keep telling us we're winning this war. And then Rubio's like, not only we won, the war's done. Here, play it.
Of billions of dollars of reconstruction costs just to get to where they were 6 months
Mr. Rubio, you keep telling us how we're winning this war. The president keeps saying,
well, the war's over.
Completely annihilated. The war is not over. And yet the American people see how we're losing at the pump and with their costs. And yet this thing still hasn't been resolved. Every day he tweets out, we've obliterated them. We've annihilated them. They're going to surrender. but yet we still find ourselves spending billions of dollars a week
Yeah, Senator
on
Booker,
war abroad.
you've gone way over. And
It would be nice if we had hearings where people
Thank
had to
you,
be held
Senator
accountable.
Booker. Senator Scott.
And then you see the Republicans, let's shut it down. Let's not get at the truth. Folks, that should piss you off. Again, I don't care. It shouldn't piss you off because you're a Democrat or an independent. It should piss you off because you're an American. That should just piss you, like, objectively. That should just make you angry. When the war's not, we didn't win the war. What are you talking about? The war's over. What do you mean? What do these idiots mean? That's not a legitimate side of a debate. That is some fascist, weirdo, Putin-esque propaganda. That's what that is. What the hell is that? Oh, got it. It's over. Just because we say Epic Fury's over, and now we're Operation Sledgehammer. Because, okay, we went from Epic Fury to Project Freedom, which was a day, to now maybe Sledgehammer. Because Midnight Hammer was last June, and now we're into Sledgehammer. Midnight Hammer, Sledgehammer, Project Freedom, Epic Fury. Toddlers. A bunch of freaking toddlers. No offense to toddlers, actually, who behave far more mature than this crap right here. That's why maybe I'm naive. Maybe I'm wrong. I just think Americans want adult behavior. Grown-ups. Experts. Leaders. People who follow the data. That's it. That's what that's what, to me, all of this is about. So we'll leave you with that. Thanks for watching Ben on Breaking News. I'm Ben Meiselas. This has been your Breaking News. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Tell others about this episode. Did all of you see the Jack Cucciarella morning show on Sunday with Bernie Sanders and Ro Khanna and Joy Reid? That show's a massive hit, huh? The new Sunday show on the MeidasTouch. So check that out Sunday morning. We've got our own Sunday show now. Hat tip to Jack joining the MeidasTouch network for that show. Good stuff, right? We're growing. We're expanding this. We continue to listen to what you want. We know you wanted a Sunday show, and to have Jack at the MeidasTouch network doing that is great. Did you know that when we first started, one of the shows we had was Aaron Parnas and Jack? They did a show to, like, some of the OG Meidas may remember. The show wasn't fully, no offense to Aaron and Jack, the show wasn't fully ready for prime time then, but they had the right idea. It was like 5 years ago or something. So it's great to see them both contributing to this network and also launching their incredibly own successful media companies that we try to support however we can. And of course, hat tip to Mockler, Gen Z really being represented here, and hat tip to all of the Meidas community, whether it's the Legal AFs and Popox, whether it's the Scott McFarlane channels. I could go on. Katie Fang, of course. So that's where we're at. Thanks everybody for watching. This has been Ben on Breaking News. Subscribe. Join. Become a member. Thanks everybody. Shout out Meidas Mighty.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.